Welcome to Coach Magic, the show for the woman who is all in on creating a life, business, and family that's beyond her wildest dreams. I'm Jenny Fennig, and I am so excited to help you get confident, focused, and paid. Let's rewrite the rules and get moving in the direction of your deepest desires. Ready, set, go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Coach Magic Live. I am so excited to be with you. I like to pull this up on my mobile device to ensure that everything looks good. It does, because this is a live episode. This is live TV right now, which I'm kind of channeling my inner Tyra Banks. Last night I was watching Dancing with the Stars, and there were some incidents at the end. She was like, this is live TV. Anything can happen. And she wasn't lying. So we have a live episode of Coach Magic for you today. I am so very excited. Let me tell you who we have with us, and anyone who might be here live or catching the replay, make sure you say hi in the comments. So Melissa and I know that you're here, and we can talk back to you. Okay, so let's meet Melissa Killeleagh. She is a mama bear, nature lover, yoga teacher, spiritual warrior, entrepreneur, and podcaster. I first met Melissa many moons ago when she joined our coach certification, and we've stayed connected ever since. She's super committed to doing the work and sharing the message that is hers to spread. Specifically, loving up on your inner child and letting yourself play. So important. We're going to talk a bit about that today. As I mentioned, she is a graduate of Magic Makers Coach Certification. This is a powerhouse program dedicated to helping you master the craft and the business of intuitive coaching online. I'll tell you more about that in a bit. Melissa, welcome to Coach Magic. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Jenny. I love it.
So excited. And I think we need to, cheers. We can kind of represent. This is a piece of our message. Boop. We're going to show up, speak up, and level up. Melissa is currently in one of my programs called Magnetic. And Melissa and I get to hang out this weekend because she's coming to our Magnetic retreat. So I'm super looking forward to that. And that just really, brings to life all the places you can go with coaching, like all the things that you can do when you decide that this craft is a piece of who you are, and that you take the craft seriously, that you realize this is a thing and I can train to become good at this thing and not just wing it. I can really invest in my learning and my education and me being the best leader I can be. So we're going to get more to your path as a coach in a bit. And, you do that amidst all the other things that you do. But let's backtrack and really get a clear understanding from you, Melissa, on what your career path has looked like. Like, what did you initially set out to do with your work?
Oh my gosh. So I'll give the quick synopsis, but I have to give the backstory in order to give context for what's evolving right now, right? So similar to you, Jenny, like I had that 10-year career in finance prior to deciding to jump ship and figure out how to work for myself. What brought me to the world of coaching was interesting. I remember when I first saw one of your offerings, I feel like it was like tribe building boot camp or something. And, my son was like a couple of months old, and I had just decided to leave the 9-to-5 like a year and a half earlier. And along came my son. And so now I was also going to be a full-time mom, and, in addition to whatever else I decided to pursue. But I've had this business in the social marketing industry and health and wellness for 14 years now. And I truly thought that coming to the work that you were doing, that the coaching that I wanted was simply to be able to enhance the skills that I bring to the table in my social marketing business, right? Because we're constantly working with teams and even just in working with clients to be able to support them better on their journey. Mm-hmm. But what ended up happening, and the reason why this message evolved, in terms of like, really embracing that inner child, and that actually flows into like an even bigger message at this point, but was because at the moment that I came upon your live stream, I was having this reflection that the same pain that I experienced when I left the 9-to-5 was still following me. And it was the pain of like getting through the day, right? So I went from celebrating like day after day, like Wednesday hump day, now it's Friday, yay, it's the weekend, oh no, it's Monday, like all that stuff in the 9 to 5, to now surviving nap to nap with my son. I'm like, I get it, it's a real thing for new parents, but it was also a mindset, right? I wanted to be thrilled about waking up with my son. I wanted to, get outside and enjoy life from the place that I was teaching myself when I left the 9 to 5, which was really from the place of like what I get to do, right? And celebrating life. And so when I came across your live stream, it was literally like, okay, right. I need to find my people. I need to clarify my message. And I need to really just put myself out there in a more meaningful way, because that in and of itself will hold me accountable to the work that I've been doing all along, right? So yeah, that's a nutshell of the journey that has.
I love it. It's always neat to hear how, and thank you for sharing how you first came across my work. I make that suggestion to all of you tuning into this, to ask your people how they first heard about you. How did you get connected to me? I mean, the internet's an amazing place. You can stumble upon someone today that might have a big impact on your life, but get in a regular practice of asking your people how they found you, because it's quite illuminating, and it will help you go deeper into those particular methods where it's like, oh, that program was really powerful, or I should speak more on people's stages, or my podcast is really getting people's attention, or gosh, this person, the most recent people have come into my program, they've all read my book. That book was really a good move. Maybe I want to write another book, or I want to promote that book more heavily. Ask those questions, because you will get some powerful answers that will help you take the message forward in the most effective, efficient way possible. Okay. And so way back when, I do feel like that's exactly what happened, because I remember that particular course. A lot of people came in those doors all those years ago. And then eventually, you've joined several programs of mine. You really, implemented different ideas and techniques. But let's talk about, this idea of yours about letting your inner child out to play. Like, what do you see as a big kind of issue affecting women in particular? I know you work with a lot of women in your social marketing business, as you said, that you feel this message is so important. Like, what is it that women are grappling with right now? What are the big challenges and issues right now that are making you say, hey, come out and play, like do things that make you feel good? What is it that people are really dealing with right now?
Well, just to give an example, I'm just going to pull up a text message that I got from a friend just last night.
Perfect.
Because it's such a good summary of this mindset. So I reached out to a woman that I was friends with and very close to when I was in high school. And we've kept in touch over the years, but we have barely seen each other in person. Mm-hmm. Right. And so her response was, I miss you too. Family comes with so many stumbling blocks and moments of love. And then I miss unfettered moments of youth. Balance is a tricky thing to master, right? So talking about all of these things, I get messages like that from people all the time, whether it's my own friends, like my own circle, or I'm just talking to women who are, working through wherever they're at in life. And I feel like at some point, the thing that I see the most is like, we pile on these hats, it reminds me of like the book when I was a kid, Caps for Sale, right? And it's like, got them all stacked up, right? And then we also mismanage our energy incredibly by having to like take these hats on and off, right? We waste a lot of energy doing that. And there's this element of seriousness that comes along. And I think it's because a lot of those hats are also like, society's expectations and ideas about what we're supposed to do, like what the prescribed milestones are in our life. And so we start to take all these things very seriously. Like, oh, I'm a mom now. Oh, I own a house now. Oh, like, I'm a wife. Oh, I have to do this, right? Oh, I have to go be part of this board over here, right? And so slowly that idea of simply like tuning in to the joy and the creativity and the play of who we truly are as women just fades, right? And it's so easy to slide into a place, even when life looks amazing on the outside, it's so easy to slide into a place of like completely unfulfilled, disconnected. Sometimes people will describe it as feeling stuck, or the symptoms that show up in their lives are things like procrastination, and I see it time and again. And I feel like I just want to get in front of all of the women, right? Because sometimes it's just a simple mindset shift.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Totally.
Sometimes all it takes. And the big shift for me was going from the idea that, this coaching work was simply to enhance the work I was already doing in my social marketing business with my teams, to knowing that my social marketing business is actually one of the tools in the toolbox, right? And there's a bigger message that I'm bringing to the table. And I think, unfortunately, because I've been building that business longer, a lot of people will hear me talk about this and they think that's the one answer I have for them. Oh, my life is unfulfilling. Oh, you need to come start a business with me. Right. But the reality is I spend a lot of time having conversations with women and coaching and doing programs where it's simply about making the shifts. Right. Mm-hmm. And if the business is a fit, great. If this is something that can help you, or there's self-care rituals in here that can help you tap into those things easier, great. But at the end of the day, if I can simply help someone see that they're one daily thought away from getting back into that groove that will help them feel fulfilled and satisfied with the life they're living, I'm happy.
Totally. And there's such, ways that we can bring this craft of coaching, which for some people can feel kind of nebulous, or if you're like, well, I have this one business or I do this thing and that's maybe the only thing I have been doing, but then you pull out and you go, there's so many different ways to do it. And that's what I love about this craft of coaching, or this path, is there's lots of different revenue streams if you want them. There can be this one, and then there's this one over here. I mean, using my business as an example, the majority of my business are, group programs, a lot of them, premium in nature. They're high touch, high vibe. I really know my clients. I want, a tight-knit group in there so we can have deep conversations. It's not something where people are getting lost in a Facebook group of hundreds or thousands. There's a place for that. And if that's the model that somebody wants, that's totally available. But so much of it is figuring out, who are you? How do you want to serve? How do you want to impact people? What is it that you love to do? Mm-hmm. And then you create that. And so, in my business, a lot of these group programs, something I did, Melissa was just on one of our calls, we're working on having our clients create their talks. They're getting out there as speakers online. And so our clients are submitting their talk outlines. And so today I used one of our clients as an example, going through and really workshopping what she put together. And when I was, having her talk printed out, because I love printing things out, I have my pen out and I'm making notes and all that. And I'm in that going, I love this. This is what I love to do. I love being able to provide this feedback, this guidance, this support, suggestions. And so that's one area of coaching that people can pursue. There's also speaking. You can get paid to speak. You can create digital products that people have, no quote time with you, personalized time with you, that they can buy these things on your website. You can sell them on social, and there's lots of other ways you can do in-person retreats. This weekend, I have an in-person retreat Melissa's coming to. And so there's all these different ways that you can have this skill set. You can have this gift come to life. And so I really want our audience to take that in, Melissa, because as you mentioned, a lot of women are in this place of, you tick off the box. I've done this thing. I have my kids, I get the house, and it looks good on paper. And it's not that it's not good. It's just that we change and we evolve, and we want an incredible life, and we want to experience things. We want to feel joy. And sometimes we can get stuck in the monotony of life, I've just got to make the snack, got to get this kid to practice, got to whatever. And so when we can really ask ourselves, what is it that allows us to feel alive? And then to give us that. And that's really a piece of your message, is let your inner child out to play. What do you love to do? What do you want to do for fun? How can you, change that narrative inside your head? And instead of going to the message of, I'm not good enough, or there's never enough time, or that's silly, or that's frivolous, how can you rewrite that and say, there's always enough time for what matters? I want this, and that's enough. I want this, and I'm allowed to want this. And I don't have to go like get someone's permission. Like, am I allowed to want this? Can I want this? Like, can somebody approve the fact that I want this? I want this. I want to do this. And maybe so-and-so doesn't want to go travel and do this thing, but I want to, and I'm going to create this space for that. And y'all, the message that Melissa has inside of her, I have inside of me, you have inside of you, it needs to get out there. There are people out there who want to hear from you. And so your job is to get it out. What are some of the ways that you use, Melissa, to connect with your audience? Just give some of our, our audience members right now some ideas about how you connect with your people.
Okay, so I'm going to answer that, but I have to say two things about what you just said, Jenny, because I think it's so important. So number one, if you're watching or listening and you feel like you have a message to share with the world, it's worth exploring, because the thing that meant the most to me about the work that I've done with you, Jenny, is that it evolves with you, right? So when you talk about all those different revenue streams, that's also opportunities for evolution, so that like as our lives shift and change and our priorities and needs shift and change, so can our businesses, right? And then the second thing is, I love the fact that the container itself really is part of affirming that desiring the thing is worth it, right? Like, I want this thing, it's worth it. I could sit in therapy for 6 more years and have someone help me establish that worth, or I could take action and do the thing, right? And then that is what actually begins to remind me that it's worth it, and kind of like solidifies that. So, but some of the ways that I love to reach out to my people, when it comes to like the business that I was already growing, I do a lot of systematic kinds of communications, things like project broadcast and things that are kind of flowing in the background, but really come from the heart, but can reach a lot of people. Right. And then when it comes to like meeting new people, I love treating social media like it's like a playground, right? And when we're kids, we show up on the playground. My girlfriend said this on a podcast one time, and I got into this energy deeply. When we're on the playground and we meet someone when we're children, we vibe with the energy and we just like go play with those people, right? Where as adults, I think it becomes a little bit more challenging to make new friends or meet new connections. And again, it's part of that seriousness, like taking ourselves too seriously. But when we're on social, we have a real opportunity here to treat it like, our Facebook page is sitting on our front stoop, or we're at the playground. And when we meet people and we see their energy and they interact with our energy, it's a great way to decide, like, maybe this is someone I want to work with, or this is a new friend, or whatever. But I do love to write. I have a lot of really long posts on Facebook, for example, and I know that people are my people when they're willing to read them. Exactly. Because everyone says like, don't write more than 3 or 4 sentences. No.
I'm so glad you write more than that, because I never want the craft of writing to go away. And that's my fear with social media, honestly, where I was talking to someone recently about this. They're like, we speak to each other through emojis and memes these days. Listen, I like emojis. I can appreciate a good meme, but please let us never get to a point where we don't use words. We're just like speaking in emoji, like those kinds of Morse code. It's like emoji code. Okay, so keep your writing coming. Your writing is very good. And as you said, those who love you and love what you have to say, they'll eat it up. And there's those of us who are really communicators. And so what do we do when we're communicators? We freaking communicate. We write. So y'all, as Melissa said, you hear like, you're not supposed to write more than 3 or 4 sentences. Don't listen to that.
Yeah. But also, if you're the person who doesn't like to write 3 or 4 sentences, don't do that, right?
Like, you can do a few emojis, or like some people are super good with that. And there's platforms that really represent that, like Instagram can be good with that. Although there's some long form posts that can do incredibly well there too. I mean, TikTok and whatever else, I don't even know if they use words. It's just using like dance movie videos. So yeah, I mean, there's all these different forms of technology that are available for us now. It's find your place, and then you can change stuff up. That's stuff that we really talk about in our specifically Magic Makers Coach certification. You have to try stuff. You got to try it on for size. You got to put this little thing out there, see what happens, and don't get attached to any of it. I mean, it's really, if you really want to pen this epic post, pen the epic post, put it out there, because you need that for you. A lot of this is cathartic. It's like you needed to say it.
Right. Completely. I love my podcast too. I pressed pause on that for a little while because it was an awkward season. And I wanted to be playing all summer up in the Adirondacks with my son.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's what I have found is like when we really are able to get in touch with that inner child and we can play, the inner wisdom flows through too, right? Like that's how we get in touch with that deeper part of ourselves. And it seems paradoxical, but it's just the reality of it. And so as I spent more and more of the summer playing, it's like my work got deeper and deeper, and I was able to connect with people on a level that was much more gratifying for both myself and them, right? Because we could get to the heart of things like really quickly.
And that's so much of what this is. It's really about connection. It's truly about connection. I want to talk now about your decision to join our coach certification all those years ago. I don't even know what year you initially came through, but you've come through our next generation. Some of our clients have done that. Well, they'll come through a few times because it's so powerful to be guided through a process. And you did that. You initially came into Get Gutsy Coach Training School. It evolved into what it is now, Magic Makers Coach Certification. So when you went through the program and, learned and were part of the coaching and all of that, what would you say was your greatest takeaway from that experience?
I think it was, being able to find my own flavor, if you will. Right? It was like following the clues of the things that really lit me up just through the process. That would be number one. But second to that, Jenny, would be the fact that I don't think a ton of programs out there offer such a balanced approach to understanding both the craft of coaching and the business of it. And, I find that in my social marketing business, I'm often dealing with like the feelers and the thinkers, right? And so the feelers could show up to coach training school and all they really need is a little bit of structure around the coaching part, and they're going to need a lot of business, right? Where my thinkers, probably have a lot of the systems and the strategy and the structures down, but they need a lot of the coaching tools. But having both really allowed, this creativity and imagination to start to open up around like, well, where is this going? Where do I want to be 5 years from now? How do I want this to evolve? So yeah.
I love that. I like how you just said that with the feelers and the thinkers. And that's true. I mean, it's like the left brain, right brain and that's honestly what I saw missing in the market is when I initially created our coach certification, it feels like eons ago. There were a lot of people who'd come through the classic coach training schools and they were really good coaches. They were trained very well in the craft of coaching, but the whole element of the online business space and online marketing and how do you set things up and how do you sell things over and above one-on-one, like one-on-one's awesome, but that's not where a lot of people what they only want to do. And sometimes we start there, but then we realize like, oh, wow, I have all the stuff I want to get out there and I can only work with so many people one-on-one. And especially if we have young children or we're taking care of elderly parents or whatever, we have lives, we have things going on, we cap out, we can only talk to so many people a day. And then, you can make this amount, but you're giving a lot of time from, just a clear hours perspective. And so I really wanted to teach people how to create an online business as a coach, and in particular, an intuitive coach, really using these intuitive gifts that we all have, that ability to get still. A lot of our clients, they have a yogic background, not all, but a lot come in because they've realized the power of meditation and getting quiet and really helping to achieve mastery over the mind, which PS, for those of you who don't realize, that is the point of yoga. It's to help us to achieve mastery over the mind, to manage those vrittis that we all have. And, to give you a sense of how this can work for you, to give you ideas and guidance. What would you say, Melissa, to anyone who is kind of at that place where you are, maybe at that place of, I'm just not having that much fun anymore. I just feel like I'm going through the motions. Again, things are looking fine, but I feel this call to do something else, to shake something up, to become a stronger leader, to have these communication skills, to be able to say, hey, maybe I want to lead a retreat or offer up a program, or maybe I just want to work with one-on-one clients, but know how to actually do it and do it well. And they're looking at Magic Makers Coach certification, but they're nervous. They're nervous to take that step. They don't know if they're going to have the time. They don't know, they've got to find the money. What guidance would you offer up to them?
So first of all, I would tell anybody out there just to get a coach, right? Because a good coach is going to send you in the right direction when you ask that question. So that's one thing. But if you're looking at the program and you feel nervous, I just feel like there's nothing that you walk away with that isn't going to somehow positively affect your life, no matter what you decide to do. Even if you decide to stay where you're at, maybe you decide, I just want to build a small business on the side. That's going to be something that I do on my Saturday mornings, and I take 5 clients a month, right? I mean, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, what it is going to help you do is to get in touch with whatever that calling is, right? Like whatever that thing is that's nudging you, that dissatisfaction, that lack of fulfillment, that at the end of the day is the biggest piece. Like, wouldn't you rather wake up every day feeling like, all right, I'm ready to do this. I'm excited for the day. Even if it means nothing has changed about the physical reality of life, right? But you just have this new outlook and this new perspective. I think something like Magic Makers coach certification can do that. It doesn't mean everybody who leaves has to go start their, coaching business right away. And for me, the first time through, I didn't, right? It was just an extra skill set and tool for me, quite often to coach myself. Right?
Oh my gosh, self-coaching?
Right.
Priceless. Oh my, I love what you said too, is for some, it's just, hey, knowing that maybe you have that Saturday morning that's yours, where you work with a few one-on-one clients. And I remember when I started my business, I was doing some nights and I was doing like Saturday mornings, just as you said, because I had a lot of corporate clients who were like fully booked during the day, and they would have a night or a weekend. So, and I was pregnant at the time with my first baby. I'm like, okay, I had all the time. I was like, let's do that. But I can see how someone who may have a full life, during the week, maybe have a full-time job, or they're a stay-at-home parent and they can't do it during the day. It's like Saturday morning, it's your time. The kids are doing something else at that point. That's your time to help people and to help yourself. It feels really good to make your own money. It feels really good to say, hey, I only work with these kinds of people and this is my time. And then I always tell people, and I use this myself too, you can turn this up as much as you want. You can dial it back as much as you want. You can decide, as you said, Melissa, it'll evolve as you do. If you're in a season of your life where you just want to do these kinds of things, then you just do those kinds of things. And then you move into a new season and you go, I don't even do those things anymore. Now I'm going to go on to this other stuff. But you have this skill set. You have the confidence, you have the craft. It's there for you. You've invested in your own education and your own training, and then you can take it wherever you want to take it. I mean, that to me is the magic of what it is to be a coach. You can do so much with this. There's just so many opportunities, and it gives you a ton of flexibility and a ton of freedom. So y'all, I want to make sure we are in our enrollment right now. This is the last time I am leading a group live through this program, meaning I will guide you through the process. I'm going to be answering your questions. We're going to have a vibrant group where you can connect with other Magic Makers coaches. I've been doing this particular program for 7 years, and it's time for me to move into my next realm with my work, the next level of all the things that I'm here to do. But we're not going to get there until we go out with a bang for this particular program. We're kicking off in November. You can go and apply at magicmakerscoach.com. Any questions, please reach out to me. If you are a friend of Melissa, you're in her world, make sure that you write her name down on your application, so we know that she got you to our program, and we will expedite your application for sure. We curate a really, really potent group because we want right fit. That's something we talk about in the program, is to be very intentional about who you want to work with. Your work is not for everybody. That's okay. And it feels really good when we say, this is who I'm best for. This is who I work best with, because why not? you know, you can do your best work in that way. And then the people who you're not a right fit for, there's someone else who is. And so it's that whole idea of there's a right fit for everyone. And so we're going to show you how we do that as you come into our particular program. All right, Melissa, where can people find you? How can they stay in touch with you if they're new to you?
The easiest place for me is Facebook. Seriously, it's like my playground. So there's only one of me, right? Melissa Killeleagh.
Yeah, it's a good last name, and that there's, yeah, it's like easy to find. We'll link her up here on FB. We're also going to put this up on lots of other places. So y'all check her out. She's really, really awesome. She's got such great energy, such a great heart. And I'm just so, so grateful for you, Melissa. I just want to witness you and all the moves that you make and your decisions to continuously show up, invest in yourself. And you know what you do? You stay curious. You stay really curious. And I think that's the mark of a fantastic coach, to be clear with y'all, and a fantastic leader. You stay curious. You stay open. I wonder what will happen when. I wonder what would happen if. I'm so excited to go see about this. And then we show up with all of who we are and we let the universe do her thing. It's like, it's a dance. It is that playground vibe. And that is really an opportunity for all of us. Like, how can we bring more play to what we do? How can we bring more joy and more connection to our interactions? Yes, we are, you know, some of us are mothers, some of us are, you know, this, that, we have all these labels, but in the end, we're children of the universe. Children of the Most High God, like whatever it is your belief system is, like you are a child of that. You're a child of the Creator. And we would do ourselves a great, great service if we would connect in with that energy on the regular. Certainly our kids get such I think a kick out of us just being in that joy and being in that magic, and they give us such lessons too, right? When we watch our children play.
Absolutely. Jack has been one of my greatest teachers. Yeah. He was part of this message unfolding for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Just to watch them and to allow ourselves to be in that vibe and be in that energy. I believe that children for sure are the greatest teachers. And so when we can allow ourselves to remember what it was like to be those children, to let that inner child out to play, to not be so serious all the time, and to bring fun into what you do, bring fun into your work, bring fun into this next chapter. And if your next chapter is Magic Makers Coach certification, or you're at least curious about it, just go to magicmakerscoach.com or send me a private message. I'm happy to connect with you on it. Thank you so much for being here today, Melissa, and to all of our incredible audience members. We appreciate you. We've got some more incredible interviews happening for you all this month here on Coach Magic, our live speaker session series. I will see you again soon. Thanks so much for being here. Let your inner child out to play. Bye.
Thanks, Jenny. I'm going to go play now.
Go play.